Hello, one and all, and welcome back to Dark Library, where we're going to do a special episode on Kamen Rider Saber. Normally, this would pop up on a Monday when the new episode would be out. The new episode would be out on Sunday, and then I do the episode on Monday. But in this case, we have a special episode to this week because of the Kamen Rider Saber movie, the Phoenix Swordsman, and the Book of Ruin. I believe that's the full title of the movie, quote-unquote movie. This is really something more of a special. Okay, so Kamen Rider movies aren't really movies. They're more specials that just, they're typically not feature length. They're only like an hour long, which is why oftentimes these features get double billed with other features. Typically other Kamen Rider content, such as what happened with with the 01 Saber movie, which made it an hour and 30 minutes, which would be around feature length. This is a tactic that Toei does use, honestly, quite a lot, because this happened to my knowledge, this happened with the Mega Man movie, the Mega Man Battle Network movie, which had a double build feature with the Duel Masters movie that was airing around that was also coming out at that time. But, this is Saber's movie, but it's not a movie, it's a special. It's a special. It's a 30-minute special that was shown in theaters, I believe, maybe after the 01 movie. I don't know how this works in Japan. Honestly, I will only go to a Japanese movie theater just to figure out how they do this, out of just a personal curiosity, even though I will have no idea what's going on. But anyway, we are here with the Saber movie, or Saber special, and yeah. So Phoenix Swordsman and the Book of Ruin. There's not really even a plot to this thing. It's just a new rider shows up. He wants to turn the world into the void, becomes a discount Evolt, and basically does Evolt's plan at the very end of build, but faster, so maybe better. But in Evolt's case, he was doing it to be sadistic. In this case, he's just doing it to fully turn the world into the void. And his motivation is, the world's full of shit, so I'm going to, return the world to the void because, people suck. And that's his motivation. Oh, the guy's name is Bakht, by the way, and he is the Eternal Swordsman, the Phoenix Swordsman, the dude who has the Phoenix book. It basically allows him to keep reviving himself so he can never die. Which, honestly, that's a pretty cool ability. It's sort of like having super fast heals, but a bit worse because you still have to die to get the super heal. Most interesting thing about this character, at least right now, is his actor. Is he's played by the same actor who played Kamen Rider Alpha, or Amazon Alpha in... No, it wasn't Amazon Alpha, it was Amazon Beta in Kamen Rider Amazons. And he was a really good part of that show, even in Season 2, where he was basically the villain. He was a really cool part of that series, and I honestly was looking forward to seeing what he would bring to this special. But it was barely anything. Like, he still has his personality and his actions, but in terms of what he does, like, on screen, it's really not much of anything. Like, Bakht is basically a blank slate doomsday villain. Funny enough, Tassel basically just gives his whole backstory in like a sentence, that he's an eternal swordsman who was sealed away for being too dangerous. And they don't even explain how he got unsealed. He just is there now. And he's just there now. And that's basically a lot of the things to this movie. Like Toma's movie exclusive power-up, Emotional Dragon, which, I'm gonna say it now, Emotional Dragon looks like a cool form. It has a shield, which I greatly appreciate, because honestly, I was hoping that at least someone would get a sword and shield form at some point in this series. Because, sword and shield, basic knight shit. I mean, it's a recolor of Forze's shield from, Forze, but, it's still cool to see at least someone in the show have a proper shield, in a way. But Emotional Dragon, where does it come from? Right the fuck out of nowhere. Okay. So basically, a lot of this movie is just one big ass fight scene where all the riders are fighting box minions that just exist for some reason. Like, they don't explain where the fuck these things come from or why they're following Boxwell. They're just kind of running around and rampaging. And so, they're kind of just there to be fodder for everyone else to fight while Toma fights the big bad of the special. I refuse to call this a movie. Like, I would call the Pokemon Master of Mirage special a movie before I call this a movie. Anyway, one thing I really did like about this was the transformation sequence. Because there's a really cool, like, side-by-side transformation sequence that everyone has. And it's probably one of the better ones in the series. Also want to mention this now because apparently it's my thing that I just have to mention it because it annoys me on a personal level. Bacht also does that thing where he grabs the part of his sword that should be a blade. I know he's an immortal and can't die, but you can still get your hand infected while you're in your current life, buddy. So, maybe don't hold the blade of your fucking sword. I'm going to keep mentioning this because it kind of annoys me every time it shows up. Here's looking at you. Here's looking at you, Durandal. Keep cutting yourself every time you have to use your time skip ability. So obviously, because Kento is still Espada is still a thing. The Wonder Combos are the strongest forms and all that kind of stuff. This takes place like right before the Full Caliber thing, or at least before Kento died, quote unquote died, and then came back. But yeah, this is probably the most nothing movie I've seen in my life. I just called it a movie. This is probably the most nothing special I've seen in my life. It's just, again, I like fight scenes. I watched Kamen Rider specifically for those fight scenes. Like, even though Saber has a pretty mid-level plot, I will admit I've liked the fight scenes so far. The fight scenes are pretty good. Like, I can watch a mid-level series and still enjoy having some pretty cool fight scenes and pretty cool suits. But here, it just doesn't work. It doesn't help the fact that they're fighting fodder enemies, so we don't really get a sense of how dangerous these guys can be outside of just their sheer numbers. And I think it's a really bad comparison because this movie had to be double billed with the 0-1 movie, and they had a similar thing in 0-1 where the various secondary riders were fighting basically a swarm of enemies, and they made it work in their case because we got a sense of how dangerous these guys could be as a swarm, and it was the only point in the movie that I will call a movie where all of our riders teamed up as one to fight. Well, not all, because Ikazuchi and Naki weren't there, and I'm not gonna. It can be semantic. Well, technically, Naki's key was destroyed. Ikazuchi's key was never destroyed, and Naki got her key back in time for the Metsubo Jinrai special. So again, semantics, but there were like 6 suits on screen. I doubt they would want to cram in 8, just because of the coordination nightmare that would involve. But anyway, like that was an awesome moment. This was trying to do that, but just didn't really hit as hard. Because we never saw these guys as a bit of a threat. They were just mooks. And just weren't that interesting. I will say I do like the song for this movie. The song is pretty good. And that's 2 things I liked about the movie. That I keep refusing to call a movie, but I keep saying movie automatically. So, yeah. I really hope when Bacht makes his appearance in the upcoming episode, he'll be given a little bit more, because again, I like this actor and I like him in a Kamen Rider. I want to see him actually act instead of just stand there for the whole thing. It's just kind of infuriating. It feels like just wasted talent. And I also feel like they just wasted 30 minutes. Again, this is a nothing special. It's just one big fight scene that honestly feels lackluster even compared to its own show. I mean, it's just supposed to be, well, we have a big fight scene because you have a higher budget, but we're still lacking. Because they are lacking. So, yeah. Overall, this Saber is a mid-series. This is a low movie, or low special. So, yeah. I was thinking I could get more out of this, but that's basically all I have to say. Just talk about Bach, talk about Emotional Dragon, and compare it to the 01 movie that was double billed with. So, yeah. I'll see you guys later for the actual episode of Saber that hopefully will bring us some inclination of Bach as a character instead of just return all to the void. Seriously. That's like the Bach standard Final Fantasy villain speech. And that's why they are not, and that's why the one that's actually in Smash Brothers is the one with the potential Oedipus complex. Oh god, that's a fun one. Anyway, yeah. Less Cloud of Darkness, more Sephiroth, please. Hell, he could actually pull off a decent Sephiroth if I think about it long enough. And that even wouldn't be the first time Sephiroth showed up in a Toku project. I'll leave that for anyone who wants to Google that stuff. Until next time, everybody.